Hello everyone, I'm Anthropomantic Fiend, and I do horror-related things on the internet. And before I get into today's video, I do want to say just a few quick things. First of all, a huge thank you to both Collector Man and Full Moon 1973 for entering my contest, because I've not had a lot of entries at all for my contest just yet as of now, except those two. At least not as far as I can tell, because nobody has notified me otherwise. So if you have done a contest entry already and I don't know about it, make sure you have either linked it to me via a personal message on social media. Don't just share it around, because I still might miss it somehow. Personally message it to me, or leave an I entered message on the original video. For more details on that, watch the original contest video. And in other news, I'm taking a indefinite hiatus from doing Heart of the Night reviews for a little while. I know that's kind of the heart of my channel, but I have a job right now. I am preparing to go away to college. There's a lot of stuff going on. Also, a lot of the films I want to review are things that cost money, and I'm trying to put money towards other things right now and save up and work through some other things before I go binge buying a bunch of new films, because I don't need them. I want them, but I don't need them. I'm probably going to buy them eventually anyway, but I really don't need to be buying them right now. So I've decided to do a lot more kind of just fun, low pressure videos that I've been meaning to do for a while. Anyway, I've got some pre-filmed tag videos that I have been releasing and will continue to release for a little while, and I have videos like this, which brings me to the actual point of the video, which is, this is my vinyl collection. It is a very small vinyl collection, but I know there are a lot of vinyl collectors in the horror community. There is some crossover with the vinyl community in the horror community, and after watching Collector Man showcase some of his vinyl collection a little while back, I decided I don't have a ton of these. I could do all of this in one video and it would be fun. So I decided to do the same. And one of the main reasons I wanted to do it is because of the first thing in my little stack here, which I'm going to go through in alphabetical order. And that is the Anna and the Apocalypse soundtrack on vinyl. And if you aren't very aware at this point, absolutely obsessed with this film, which is a little bit surprising because it's a Christmas movie, and normally I hate talking about anything related to Christmas outside of December, but I adore this film too much to care. It is a zombie apocalypse film. It is a Christmas movie, and it is a musical. This is a record that features all of the songs from the movie, not the actual score, which I would honestly also love to own, because I haven't really found a place just to listen to the background music from the non-musical number scenes from the film, but I love having this. It's got all of my favorites, extended versions of those songs, and a handful of songs that did not make their way into the film, including the main version of What a Time to Be Alive, which is surprising because it's kind of like a core thing in the movie. It's used in the trailer, and there's a laid-back, Christmas jazzy, fun version in the credits, but the main version of What a Time to Be Alive is not in the film. It was kind of meant to be like a really big song and dance opening number for the film, but it's never actually made it into the film. This also includes Which Side Are You On?, which did not make its way into the theatrical cut that most people have seen of the film. It's a little confrontational piece between Savage and Anna's dad, and all of the adults that are trapped inside the school kind of taking sides against each other. It's really fun. So I'm glad to have those little pieces that did not make their way into that cut of the film on this soundtrack. That being said, you can watch things from the extended cuts and the festival cut on YouTube easily, but the actual extended cut of the film has not gotten a Region A, Region 1, I don't recall the numbers and letters and how they work, release of Anna and the Apocalypse here. You can only get it in the UK and other Region 2B whatever places. And a nice release of the Anna and the Apocalypse extended cut that actually works in my Blu-ray player would be a instant shut up and take my money thing. I don't care how overpriced it is. And there are a few other movies as well that either I have a region 2 release of that I cannot play, or is only available as a very hard to find region 2 release. I'm looking at you, Bit, but Bit and Anna and the Apocalypse specifically, please just make nice releases of those films that I can actually own and play, so I don't have to go out and buy a region-free Blu-ray player just so I can play like 2 or 3 movies. But anyway, nice little liner notes with some zombies on them, and the vinyl itself is clear and has this really cool blood spatter design on it, which is one of the main reasons I bought it. Usually my go-to is kind of CDs, which is why my vinyl collection is so small, but I adore this movie so much, and the blood spatter touch was so cool that I was just like, you know what, I need this on vinyl. Also, this was a birthday gift this year from my parents. I just had not gotten the chance to show it off anywhere. Huge thank you to them for getting this for me. I did not buy this myself. Next up is Antiqua with Funeral Crown. This is something I showed briefly on my channel late last year when it arrived. This is the debut single from the chamber black metal band Antiqua, who I discovered because one of their main founding members is the amazing Lindsay Schoolcraft, who I have talked about to no end on this channel, alongside Zen, who's the lead vocalist for Neobliviscaris, who are another band that I love. This is just one single. There are the lyrics, and there's the record. It's actually only playable on one side. The other side just has this kind of cool Antiqua A on it, and the first side features debut single Funeral Crown, as well as a track called Anadim Jair, which is a weird kind of almost folky chamber piece. It's not really black metal, but it's very creepy and atmospheric, and it is only available through this vinyl release, which I found to be very cool. Picking up the pace drastically, we have Archspire with Relentless Mutation. I think I talked about them a little bit when I did Hellhound and Sean Urshan's Metal Up Your Ass tag a while back. These guys are one of my favorite modern metal bands. They are one of my favorite death metal bands. They are a technical death metal band, and their whole thing is going super fast. They have super speedy, noodly guitar pieces, crazy blast speedy drums, insane bass parts, and their vocalist is really the icing on the cake because he's kind of taken influence from a lot of speed rappers, and a lot of times he bases the syllables of his lyrics for the songs on how many snare hits there are in the drum track. And if you've listened to death metal, especially extremely blast beaty death metal, oh my god. But even then, they are able to make their songs extremely catchy. As I believe I said in that tag video, I will get pieces of Archspire songs stuck in my head. There is no way in hell I'm going to be able to hum them back to you, but they get stuck in my head. They're great melodic hooks within the insanity that is this album and most of their work, but they really kind of upped their catchiness game on this particular album in a really great way. Getting into some more vintage, thrifty finds, we have David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. I doubt this needs any introduction. It is a great album from the legendary David Bowie, a bit of a weird dystopian concept album, very surreal, a little bit George Orwell inspired. This one is definitely scratched in a few places, but I'm still very happy to own it. Tony Visconti did a lot of mixing and arranging on this. The reason I'm noting that is because A, Tony Visconti does not get nearly enough credit for doing a lot of things on a lot of Bowie albums. 2, the reason I know that is because I watched a video a while back. I think it was titled something along the lines of David Bowie and Brian Eno recording Warszawa, and it is this little animated video of Bowie, Brian Eno, and Tony Visconti recording that track. I don't recall which album that was off. It may have been Low, maybe Heroes. I think it was Low, though. I will correct myself below, but it's just these tiny little animated versions of them, and Tony Visconti's whole thing on there is just constantly making a point of saying how he does a lot more than people think on the album, and I cannot do that video justice in this video. Just know that it's really funny. I will try to link it somewhere. And because of that video, every time I see Tony Visconti's name, I kind of lose it. Next up, we have Black Sabbath with Paranoid. This album needs no introduction. It really doesn't. But this release is very special because it is a 2-disc deal. It's got the original album as well as a second disc of bonus tracks. There's an instrumental version of War Pigs, an alternative lyrics version of Paranoid, which is, I believe, kind of the demo version with Ozzy kind of singing his own kind of generic lyrics with the original melody. A lot of his original versions of those songs before they had their final lyrics were kind of generic love songs. Instrumental versions of Iron Man, Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, and Fairies Wear Boots, and alternate lyrics versions of Planet Caravan, and a alternate mix of Rat Salad. So if you are a Sabbath fan, this is a very, very, very nice release of a classic album. Next up, we have Carpathian with Isolation. This was a blind buy at a local record store. It is a very kind of bare bones, gloomy, spooky looking record, and because of that, I kind of presumed it was gonna be something along the lines of kind of spooky black metal or doom metal or goth metal, and of course with a name like Carpathian, it sounded very vampiric to me. However, this is a metallic hardcore band, kind of a metalcore band, but definitely on the more hard-edged, extreme side. There are no melodic vocals to be found here. It is all very aggressive. It is still a really good album. It's not really what I was hoping for, but if you are into metallic hardcore, this is still really solid stuff. Next up, we have the Hollywood Vampires self-titled debut. This album was a birthday gift a few years back from my parents, and it is the debut album from a supergroup consisting of Alice Cooper, Joe Perry, Johnny Depp, and I'm not actually remembering the drummer's name. And the list of the Hollywood Vampires is just a ton of people, all of whom appeared on the album, because this has a lot of guest vocals from a lot of different people. You've got former members of Cooper's old band appearing on here, Brian Johnson from AC/DC, Sir Paul McCartney. It is a covers album, a lot of different classic rock songs, a lot of different things from Alice Cooper's repertoire, things from Led Zeppelin, The Who, Jimi Hendrix. It is a really, really solid hard rock covers album. It is also a double album for what that's worth. Another double album that I own that I love is Camelot's Silverthorn. Camelot is a US-based symphonic metal band, which doesn't happen often enough. So many of them are European, and it is a concept album. I'm not actually too familiar with what the story is here, but this is really, really beautifully done symphonic power metal in classic Camelot fashion. There's guest vocals from some people that I absolutely adore on here. Elise Rid from Amaranth making an appearance on this album. You have Alyssa White-Gluz from Arch Enemy making an appearance on here, and I really don't know what else to say about this except that it's a truly beautiful release and a truly great album, and it pushes all the right symphonic metal and power metal buttons for me. I love this album. Next up, we have Kiss Destroyer, another album that needs no introduction, probably Kiss's best album as far as I'm concerned. It includes God of Thunder, which is my personal favorite Kiss song. I'm not a big fan of Kiss as far as actual, people go, but I love their persona and their music. Also, this was a secondhand find, which should be very apparent, and it was literally $1 in a sale bin at a record store in the mall, and I really couldn't pass it up for that reason. My dad was kind of a hardcore Kiss fan as a kid, so this is kind of my link to him from what he listened to as a kid into my heavy metal crazed self now. Changing gears, we've got the Star Wars soundtrack. This is actually something I picked up and took into my own collection from my grandparents' house, which is a little bit of a shocker because my grandparents are known for having gone to see the original Star Wars in theaters and just not getting it at all and not liking it. But I presume this belonged to my dad or my uncle at one point in time. It is exactly what it looks like. It is a release of the original John Williams score for the iconic original Star Wars movie, technically Episode 4, A New Hope, but probably known just at the time as just Star Wars. Music really needs no introduction. One thing that's kind of odd about this particular release is the way the discs themselves actually work, because you've got side 1 and side 4 on one disc and sides 2 and sides 3 on another disc, so you're gonna have to kind of do some jumping from record to record in order to listen to all of the music in sequence. Maybe it was made that way because of the way some record players worked and would transfer records themselves. I really don't know. That's my guess, but regardless, really nice little find and a iconic film score that needs absolutely no introduction. And finally, we have Wishbone Ash with Wishbone 4, and this is an album that I picked up at a local record store. It is obviously used and obviously rather old. Having never listened to the band, it was part of an assignment for a pop culture and American history class I was taking in high school at the time, to buy an album that you would never listen to before on vinyl and bring it into class, and it would be played on the record player at some point. This was my choice. Granted, it was not completely blind because I did know of Wishbone Ash, because notably Iron Maiden have cited them as an influence on their guitar harmonies, and Opeth have also cited them as an influence. They are not a metal band. They're a little bit of a hard rock band. I remember my pop culture teacher at the time saying they had a kind of southern rock vibe, which I find interesting because I believe they are a British band, but they do have a little bit of that going on, and it's kind of fun but fairly laid back, hard-ish rock album with some really good guitar harmonies on it. So not my first choice as far as listening goes, but a really good album, and I do throw it on sometimes, and I quite enjoy it. And that is my vinyl collection. So if you have any of the same records in your collection, let me know. Let me know what some of your favorite things from your collection are. If you have done videos on your collection or plan to do videos on your collection, please let me know any of that as well. That is my video. Thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I will see you in another one. Bye.